since we're like almost pretty much halfway before the new year, why don't we just do the best and worst films of 2015 so far? Be advised, I'm not gonna do a top 10 or anything like that. It's kind of too early for that at this point. So how is this going to work is that I'm going to pick a movie genre, then talk about the best and worst, then move on to another genre and talk about the best and worst, then repeat. Now, this is strictly my opinion. These are some of the films that are pretty great and some of the films that I had to look down on. So here it goes, my best and worst films of 2015 so far. Let's begin. Last year, we didn't have enough good horror films. We had films that are just bad, and then we have films that are just meh. Only The Babadook, As Above, So Below, and Oculus are pretty good films. But this year so far, we have seen much improvement. And the films that stand out the most is It Follows. It may not be that scary, but it has creepy visuals. The cinematography, the environment, and the score is just wonderful. And it takes you back to one of those retro horror films such as the John Carpenter films. And this film really symbolizes sexual transmitted disease in a pretty unique way. It's a really good film, unlike The Woman in Black 2, which fails as a horror film. Being the first movie I watched this year, this movie is nowhere close of the same feelings as It Follows. It relied too much on jump scares, dumb people, and decisions, and it wasn't even scary at all. Awful. Just awful. First movie of the year, and it's a pretty shitty one. You go and watch this movie. It's slow, and with some slow and quiet movies, there needs to be some sort of suspense in order for you to not get bored. Ex Machina was able to do that. If you haven't watched this film, then what are you waiting for? Even though it's pretty slow pace, the suspense is really there, and you are desperate to see what's going to happen next. It is shot beautifully, you stay connected to the characters, and you learn things about technology, the mind, and what happens when things go far with technology. Wonderful movie. But then you watch thrillers like The Boy Next Door, which is completely crapped. Some of the character development is just bad, horrible acting, and a plot that just want to make you cover your face. But don't worry, that's not it. We have The Loft, which is even worse. At least in The Boy Next Door, you know what was going on. But in The Loft, no fucks are given. I mean, no fucks are given. You got the characters that you don't care about. Carl Urban, James Marsden should not be in this movie, period. A flimsy plot that doesn't make any sense. A twist ending which was just a ripoff. Bad movie. Bad. And then you got movies that pumps everything up. Avengers Age of Ultron. Great action movie. Great character development from the first movie. Great action. Great performances. You were just there to have fun, and you got our heroes doing what they got to do. Kingsman, The Secret Service. The same thing. Great action along with great cinematography during the fight scenes. Great characters along with some hilarious dialogue. One of the great spy movies of this year so far. And both of these movies were able to keep us entertained and not keep us bored, unlike The Gunman. Wow, what a disappointment. Sean Penn trying to be the next Liam Neeson. But remember, in order for you to do that, you gotta keep us awake. Don't make us fall asleep. When I want to see some great action, I mean it. But it's just dull and boresome. You got actors that you don't need in this movie. You got a couple of bad performances, especially from Javier Bardem. I mean, come on, you are better than this. I've seen you in Skyfall. I've seen you in No Country for Old Men. You are great, but no, not here. Not here. But then you watch films that you want things to just chill a bit. And the film Dope was able to do that so well. It was fun, it was humorous, it has a pretty bright message. No matter what neighborhood you're from, you can pursue your dreams. Even though it had that, it had some seriousness because these are a bunch of kids with drugs, and the main lead doesn't want to be the next kid selling drugs. He wants to do something positive, so it never bores us, unlike Aloha, which is not only boring, but so messed up and confusing, and you got no idea what is going on. The story and the editing is so choppy, and the chemistry with Emma Stone and Bradley Cooper just didn't work here. I saw this movie, I didn't have enough sleep, and this film just made everything worse. Comedy. Now that is important. Now, I'm going to talk about the worst comedies first because we have seen comedy movies that had a very great struggle the first half of the year, and they were really disappointing. But then you got comedy movies that just want to pull all your hair like Hot Pursuit. This film is just irritating. A forced chemistry between Reese Witherspoon and Sofia Vergara, an unfunny plot, little sympathy, and very dumb decisions. I mean, this is a very bad film, and it's a letdown to everyone who saw this film. And when the credits roll, I immediately scurry out of there because I was sick of it. I even heard a guy mumbling about how this movie was shit. A movie about women getting from point A to point B shouldn't be this excruciating. But don't worry, ladies, this isn't the only movie where women are doing stupid things. Take Unfinished Business, for example, about stupid guys. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is a boring flick. It made me very angry because these are guys that are on a business trip. We don't care about them. We are so bored, and the movie just dumps us with stupidity. I curse this film the day it's born. It's a filthy piece of shit that shouldn't existed in the first place. If I want to watch something that is so stupid, then I'm better off watching YouTube videos of people getting hurt. Ouch. But as June arrived, we started to see some better comedy movies like Entourage, Spy, Ted 2. But the movies that were able to stand out for me was once again Kingsman, The Secret Service, and Dope. Both of these films are fun and entertaining. Sam Jackson talking all kinds of funny shit during the film, and Dope is just a crazy film with a message. Both different genres and both funny films. Science. Don't you just love that subject? Here is a film that not only works as a thriller, but also works as a sci-fi film, Ex Machina. I already talked about this film, but just a reminder, this is a really interesting film. It's really intense. The intensity is there from scene to scene. It's basically just Domhnall Gleeson having sessions with a robot named Ava to see if she's truly an AI. Once the movie progresses, shit just get really weird and pretty questionable, and it doesn't keep you bored. Unfortunately, not all movies are like Ex Machina. Sometimes you watch movies that just don't shut up and get to the point, has some spectacular special effects to distract you from the fact that this movie is bad, and even have an Academy Award winner putting on a bad performance. Oh yes, I'm talking about Jupiter Ascending. You look at the trailer and it looks like that this movie has some potential. It looks like a crazy space action film with Mila Kunis discovering some things about herself and teaming up with Channing Tatum.
My name is Jeff.
Yeah, we all know that, now shut up. But instead, we have our times wasted with just political mumble-jumble about planets and harvesting, which could have been cut down to many minutes. Horrible acting with Eddie Redmayne, and way too many damsel in distress moments with Mila Kunis, and Channing Tatum coming to rescue her. I mean, she hasn't done much in this film, and she's not that interesting. Jupiter Ascending was a movie that had a lot of potential that became a bombshell. And of course, we have movies that need to remind us how to fall in love and challenge us with love and such. Now, there's a film out there which is nothing special. It's pretty basic. And even though we have heard this story so many times, we were given an update. Nothing much to say. Cinderella. I don't know, it feels like I am truly watching a Disney film. And it feels like the animated original. And it has the magic, it has the tone, it told its story very well with a few added things. The performances were well done, it's Cinderella, and that is all there is. Yes, we had so many stories relating to the story of Cinderella, but this one was pretty good, but not as good as 50 Shades of Grey. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't hate this movie to death like everyone else. I thought there were a couple of good aspects of the movie, but there were too many points that became subpar. This is one of those romance novels that didn't need to have its own movie, because after 40 minutes, nothing else happens. They walk around, they have sex, rinse and repeat, and then afterwards something happens and the movie just ends. I mean, what's the point? The structure is poorly constructed. The chemistry between Dornham and Dakota is just awkward. And the reason why this woman is still falling for this man is heavily debatable. Not a good movie, but I don't hate this movie as much as anyone else. I'm not going to say that it's the worst romance I've saw this year so far. I'm going to say The worst romance film I saw this far was Aloha. I already talked about this movie. It had bad chemistry between Emma Stone and Bradley Cooper. You don't care about this situation in the love triangle with Rachel McAdams. It's just a movie that you just don't care about. And you are unable to figure things out until an hour later into the story. An hour? That is excruciating. This could have been a good movie if it knew what it was going for and be more coherent as humanly possible. Why am I even talking about this film? It's not like people remember it. And last and finally, animation. Now, the good news is, I have not seen the worst animation movie so far. So let's make this the best and the least best. And so far, I have seen 3 animation movies. One of them being Inside Out, which is my best one. This is a very clever movie which had a lot of laughs, some moments that make you want to feel something. A movie where your mind or your body is some sort of control room is something that has been used in the past so many times. But this is a movie that was able to do things that was unique and very heartwarming. A lot of creativity has been done for this control room, and the mind of the girl has been shown real well. There are these different worlds that represent her, the logic, the comedy. It felt like that not only this movie was made for kids, but also made for adults as well. This is one of the best movies Pixar has done, and I'm just filled with joy. Then we got Minions. Yes, Minions. I haven't reviewed this movie yet, so I'm gonna keep my comments to a minimum. It's a pretty good movie. You got our yellow 3-pill shaped characters acting the fool, having trouble with their leaders. It's pretty okay. It doesn't have the same aspects as Inside Out, but it's quite okay. Okay, now the next movie I'm about to mention is not the worst animation. I like this film. I thought it was pretty good. It's just my least favorite so far. SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water. What can I say? It's a sugar high movie where your characters are out of the water. There are superheroes. It's okay. The comedy was fine. The plot and the story was good. It's SpongeBob. I would say that this is a movie where you can, I don't know, I guess, sit down with your kids and watch. Not necessarily directed to adult audiences as same with the children audiences, but what do you expect? So that is it with all the movies so far, and I'm looking forward to see more movies toward the end of the year for the final countdown. And speaking of future movies, I've seen many movies already such as Ant-Man, Terminator Genesis, Pixels. I know my reviews are late, but I'm trying to catch up ASAP, so stay tuned. So that is it. Thank you for watching. More reviews on the way.